Order filled.
What's up? We back at it. You already know. Quant.less here. I'm sure you already know that though. Yeah, I'm gonna get straight into the recap of how I caught roughly, I think, 180 points today. Shorting the Nasdaq. And I mean, I guess you can see on my TikTok I made around like 7K. But I don't like flexing money. So it's mainly about just catching a good trade. And what did I do? I caught a absolutely beautiful trade. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So going into the day, I don't want to show this stuff because this stuff is still coming. So coming into the day, we had no sequential at the highs, no sequential at the lows. We reached my higher time frame objective, rebalancing the unbalanced range and reaching the 3-month open. If we would like to go lower off of New York Open, then I would want to see us manipulate below True Day Open with daily cycle 90-minute to want to long towards the unmitigated data high. If we manipulate higher 90-minute with data high, then sell off. How we trade today all depends on how New York opens. And then if you go over here into like more of my intraday thoughts, I said I'd be down to take shorts if we start to sell off after potentially having 90-minute at data high. YM is currently selling off like crazy. Interested in longing when we get sequential SMT at low of day. This was when YM I just saw was completely dumping and NQ was kind of staggering a little bit. And I'm like, that if we want to go that way, patience and discipline. And then I said shorting looks optimal, micro 90-minute highs. And then I posted this absolute banger. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So as I explained going into the day, we had really no sequential, no SMTs or SMTs at the highs or the lows to support any bearish or bullish move, right? Overall, I wanted to be bearish today, considering, as I explained in my previous video, how we reached my high time frame objective as we reached the 3-month open, which was right here. We reached the 3-month open and we reached EQ of this range as well as the CISD. So because of that, I wanted us to be primarily bullish, right? So why did I short today? Well, the reason to me shorting was because it looked extremely probable. And to be honest, it looked a lot cleaner than longing. I mean, you could have longed. It could have worked. And to be honest, I wasn't even looking to long. I wasn't even looking specifically for longs. So I wasn't even paying attention to that. But yeah, so let's get into it. So going into the day, we had news at 8:30 and we left a data low and a data high, correct? We had our data high up here. I had obviously marked it out as right after news we took out data low, and I was like, okay, we could potentially either look for a long towards data high if, as I explained in my outlook, if we want to manipulate lower and go below True Day Open, create a 90-minute or a daily cycle or just any sort of cracking correlation in price to be able to bring us higher towards the unmitigated data high. Or we come higher, we create a cracking correlation with data high, and we then go lower. Okay, so what did we do? Off of open, we kind of staggered around a little bit as I explained, came higher, came lower, whatever, and then I saw as we started coming higher, what did we do? We took out data high. We were not even close to it on YM, not even close to it on ES. So what did I see? I saw a 15-minute swing divergence, as I explained in previous videos, which is just when the next candle takes out the previous candle's high or low, while the other assets fail to. And what did we do? NQ took out this previous candle's high, while YM clearly did not, and ES did. Okay, so we have a 15-minute swing divergence. Now, what else did we have? We also had a 5-minute swing divergence, which I had seen as well, which was, I'm pretty sure, Yeah, which is also kind of the 15-minute swing divergence as well. And there was also the swing divergence with this right here. But we had a 5-minute swing divergence as well and a 15-minute swing divergence. And then that allowed me to be confident enough into dropping down to the 1 minute, as time frame alignment explains that. And let me go to right here. So going right here, ooh, I need to take these off. Sorry about that. So going right here, we had a micro at the highs as we took out the previous microcycles high on ES and on NQ, and YM failed to rate that high. So that is obviously a microcycle sequential SMT, right? What else? We were also above all true opens, right? We were above true week open, true New York open, true microcycle, true, whatever. Yes. Okay. Sorry about that. So, we had a microcycle, we had a cracking correlation with data high, and we had a 90-minute cycle as the data high was left as the high in the previous 90-minute cycle, and we took that out, creating a 90-minute cycle sequential as well as a cracking correlation with data high. Okay, we also had a micro sequential at the high, so we were overall looking very, 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 very bearish. Okay. Next, what did we have? We had a 1 minute PSP, which I have explained what a PSP is, where on one asset we close bullish, while the other assets we close bearish. Not just one asset, it can be any, like 2 be bullish, 1 be bearish, vice versa, you understand. So here we had our 1 minute PSP. Okay. And that validated me to go down to the 15-second and look for a valid entry, in which was given to me. We had this 15-second CISD. I had entered off of this. My stop loss was at the high. Really, really good risk for today. I think I had a 20-point stop, not even, a little bit less. So it was really, really good. And I had my TP at this low. And I'll explain to you guys in a second as to why I held onto it, even though we had micros at the lows and we had SMTs at the lows, wanting to push this higher. So, as you can tell, as we start to push lower, what do we create? We create SMTFs, SMT fills. SMT fills, I'm not going to go super into depth with that. However, what I will say is that it's basically just an SMT with a fair value gap, as one asset taps into a fair value gap while another one does not, right? With this gap, YM did not even touch it. ES did. Okay, 1,000. That is why I had trailed. I was confident in not trimming. I explained this in my trade review. I said 90-minute sequential, cracking correlation with data high, microcycle sequential, and a 15-minute swing divergence, 5-minute swing divergence, 1 minute PSP, and a 15-second CISD. Note, reason I held all contracts and instead of trimming, I trailed was because multiple SMTFs formed with the move lower, giving me better spots to trail that made me confident in trailing instead of trimming. Pretty simple. That was really the only reason as to why I felt more comfortable in just trailing pretty heavy than to trim. Only because the only place I'd be looking to trim was the first presented fair value gap going against my trade, and I just was like, you know what? Let me just hold this because I have pretty high conviction into this trade, right? So I eventually trailed it down to this SMTF down here, and then we eventually got that push even lower. And now here, as you can see, YM and ES has already taken out this low. So you're probably wondering, and we're under true day open on both assets except for NQ. So you're probably wondering, like, Quant.less, why did you hold that trade? As I explained, we had multiple SMTFs within the move lower, and we were starting to get a lot more volatility and a lot of a bigger push lower, and that just gave me a lot of conviction and a lot of confidence in my trade. I don't think I trailed it any lower than this. I just kept it at this SMTF high, and I hit TP, giving me roughly 180 points, I believe. Yeah, 180 points. So, yeah. That's pretty much the trade recap for today. And I mean, yeah, there's not much else to it. This was used as the 4-hour power of 3, as we had, this is something that I did not mention, I'm very sorry about that. We had the 4-hour power of 3, what did I want to do if I was bearish? I wanted us to manipulate higher off 10 a.m. open, right? And create a 4-hour PO3, 4-hour open, high, low, close. Well, what did we do? 10 a.m. opened. We created a high. We already had the 90-minute cycle, but we had the 90-minute cycle cracking correlation with data high and a microcycle sequential. What did we do? Open high, and we created a 1-minute PSP, giving me an entry, open high, low, close. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Not much else to it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to join my free Discord, which I will be linking inside the description, so go check that out. And other than that, yeah, have an absolutely blessed day. Hit me up with any questions at all in the comments, anything whatsoever. I'm down to answer. Yeah, you can find all my information in my bio. So yeah, I hope you have an absolutely amazing day, blessed day. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one.